British National Cyclocross Champs from Falkirk, course preview, and we're just going under the start-finish banister. The start loop will be slightly different, I think, but we're just heading down the tarmac straight and then we take a right in a second onto the grass. Now the course is dry, fast and absolutely savage. It's technical, it's punchy, and I was going round, and I'm not going to lie, I was absolutely hanging out in the practice. It's going to be absolutely killer, but I'm leaving a little bit of a gap while I'm slowing down a bit here, because as you come round this corner, you're then going to hit this straight which leads you into the first little bank, and you've really got to hit these banks with speed to get up them. I'm not going to lie, so I left a bit of a gap from the riders in front, and you've just got to absolutely rip it to get up them. They don't look like much on camera, but they're super tricky, and if you don't have enough speed, you won't get up into this left-hander, and then we're straight into the first descent. And some of these little descents, the camera don't do it justice, but they're gonna be rutted out, and you've really just got to commit to it and go and get in one of the ruts and send it. But like I said, you can see how dry it is at the moment, so we've got pits on the right, so Del Boy might get a nice easy weekend if we get no rain. But down here, and there is no, well, I didn't think there was any respite on this course, because we take a right here and then it kicks up this first little kicker of a hill. The camera is going to make it look flat, but it is steep and you've really got to put the power down. And as you get into this slightly steeper section in a minute where you can see the riders are in front, it really does get slippy. And once that gets churned up, when there's been about 2,000 laps through here, just here, this is going to be super slick to get up. And it's a nasty little kicker all the way to the top. That's what I was saying. You're absolutely on the pedals throughout this lap. And it's going to just be full gas for the boys at the front. So once we get to the top, probably a tiny bit of respite before we hit the hurdles and then into some bomb holes. So coming down here, the top riders will definitely be hopping these hurdles. This chopper is definitely dismounting and running them. But they're not, I think we've had higher ones at some of the other national rounds, but a little bit too high for me still. So the hurdles, and then we're into the bomb hole, and yet again you have just got to commit to this. If you want to get up the other side, you've got to get in that rut and just absolutely pin it. And you can see the camber just pushes you over to the left, and then it's same again. You've got to get in these ruts at the bottom and just pin it to get up the other side. It is all about what I felt it was all about commitment. Like Ben's popping whips, I'm absolutely hanging out, because yet again there's another little bank and you've got to nail it, and I don't think I'd managed to get up these ones. And it's going to be the sort of course where you've quickly got to decide whether you're going to dismount, run, or try and get up the banks. And same again here, another bank, and it is just so spiky. If you're not sending it down a descent, you're ripping the head off it trying to get up one of the little banks. And it's a wicked course. Like, the strongest rider on the day is definitely going to win this one, as always in cross. But another little bank section here, and then this top bit's probably one of the only points where you sort of feel like you're getting a little bit of rest. It's definitely one for the punchy riders. But up this top section now, we're into some of the grass elements. Sorry, I'm trying to go as fast as I could, but I'm not even joking, I was absolutely on the limit in this practice lap. But round these few corners, and then we drop into probably the most technical descent of any cross race that I've done anyway. It is just here, we sling a left, and it is from Ben takes a really high left line super fast on one of the laps. Oh, here he does it. Me, I'm foot out, flat out. Look at the speed he holds down there, super impressive. And you can see how these seconds can be made. So technical descent and straight into a really awkward off camber climb again. And same again, I think unless you're hitting that with enough speed, it's an off and run job. And then you remount, and by the time you've remounted, there's another little spike to get up another bank, and it was leg sapping, got the heart rate up. So you can see here, I decided to get off and run this. I think for me it was faster. You've really got to hit these banks with speed. And then now we're like at the top of the course, you do get a little bit of respite along this section. There's probably like 2 bits of respite on this course. When I say respite, the front guys will just be absolutely tanking it along here like a road race. I mean, you can see how dry it is, but it's a little bit slick on top. So when you go into these next few corners here, it is slippy, and I found some of the cambers were just pushing you out to the right. So you'll see here, as you come round this corner, it just pushes you out towards that tape. And it's a little bit slick. If we get some frost overnight and then it starts to thaw out, those corners are going to be slippy as round here. So basically this is the little bit of respite you get down this descent. It sort of weaves down the descent with some tricky corners. You can see Ben getting his foot out round there because it was slippy. And then you head back down to pits. And you sort of think, oh, we must be getting close to the finish now. But no, it is another couple of brutal banks. You basically have to then get back up to the top end of the course where we're at. And it's like any cross race, it's going to be full on. There's nowhere to rest, there's nowhere to hide. And you've just got to be on the pedals and you've got to be committed throughout here. So this is the last corner here. I'm slowing down because this next bank I was really struggling to get up, and I wanted to try and hit it with enough speed to see if I could get up, and the answer was no, I couldn't. So there is pit number 2 on the right, and you'll see as we come down here, we go over a little lump down, and then there's a super steep bank coming back up as we climb back up to the top of Callendar Park. So just here, we drop down, there's a couple of ruts you've got to get in, and then you've got to nail it to get up here. I think Ben gets up but Chopper Boy does not get up. So it's really, you've got to anticipate when you're going to need to get up, get off, run, if you've got the power to get up there, or you've just got to hit it absolutely full steam. And that's the thing, is having that anticipation to get off before you come to a dead stop like I just did. But I was trying to hit them with speed, I just wasn't carrying enough momentum and probably didn't have enough power to get over them. But we're now basically, this little bit's a tiny bit of a drag all the way back up to the top of Callendar Park, and then we descend back down before we hit one of the main features of the course, the wall, which is another savage little section. As if it couldn't get any harder. They really want to make this tough for national champs. The way it should be though. So I would say this bit is rest, but it's not, because you've just absolutely nailed it. Little drag to get back up the top, and then we're in a grassy cornered section. If you raced national trophy last year at Falkirk, this section is pretty similar again. So round a few little S-bends, but the next descent into the wall, they've changed massively, and it's super tricky because there's like an off camber corner into a climb before you get to the wall. So you're going to see this here. You've really got to commit to this first descent before we then sling a left on the off camber. So another descent here, and you just feel like on these descents that you're super underbiked. Before this off camber section, Ben stayed really tight left, and you can see me, it's just thrown me out to the right, and then I'm in the wrong gear for that little kicker. So you can either run it wide and then try and swoop back in, or Ben's took that tight line which looked really fast, and then you're into the wall. When they say it's the wall, it is super steep. There's no running up here for me anyway. You're just trying to get in any foothold you can to get to the top of it. But I imagine the top boys are going to be absolutely sprinting up there before we head down the final descent. And yet again, the descents are just absolutely full send, and you feel like you're so underbiked. You feel like, for me anyway, I feel like I want to be on my mountain bike, but it is an absolutely class course. I've got to admit, I'd like it a bit muddier because the front boys are going to be flying around this like a road race. But the final corner, and then we head back into the start-finish straight. Absolutely wicked course. I'm super excited to get stuck in tomorrow, and it is going to be full gas round here.